The San Francisco 49ers got some good news this week, positive news, positive perspectives coming out of guys like Hufanga and Leonard Floyd, and I can't wait to get into all of them, especially as this Jets prep is getting real. But before I do any of that, before I do anything at all in this video, I do have to talk about the best news of the day, which is this Ricky Pearsall update. Firstly, from his mom, saying that none of his vital organs were hit, that the bullet entered his chest, exited his back through and through, and he's in good spirits. Life is precious. This was good news, and I'm really happy to hear this, of course. Coming out of that, then later on today, we got the news that Ricky Pearsall had been upgraded to fair condition, which is awesome, and another great thing you want to hear. And following that news, then just a little bit ago, we got this update from the San Francisco 49ers and Ricky Pearsall that he has been released from the hospital this afternoon as he continues to recover from a bullet wound to his chest. He and his family, with the entire San Francisco 49ers organization, would like to thank the San Francisco Police Department, Emergency Medical Services, doctors, and staff at San Francisco General Hospital. And this is fantastic news. And before I did anything else in my video, I just wanted to talk about that and just mention, not even talk about it, just wanted to mention that because that's great news. And that's when I talk about good news all the time, this is one of those things that, this is the best news that we could get. So we're happy with that. And congratulations to Ricky Pearsall on his recovery and his safety, and really hoping a speedy recovery for him. On today's show, we're going to be talking about recent updates on Talanoa Hufanga, the exact right attitude heading into the game against the Jets, and a nice reminder now that Brandon Aiyuk's deal is complete. If you're new here, I'm Nate. We're talking the San Francisco 49ers every day. Please consider dropping a like and a sub if you have not yet. The next piece of good news is this, only briefly mentioned previously. I don't know how this week has been so busy, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about the fact that after 9 months, Talanoa Hufanga is on the field. That's great news. Nick Sorensen spoke about him, and as did John Lynch, and so I'm really happy to break all of that stuff down. But I do got a question for you. My first question for you is this. Should the 49ers start Hufanga? There's a little bit of question about whether or not he's going to start, and if he's ready, if he's feeling good and the medical staff says he's technically cleared to play, do you risk him? I know none of you are Kyle Shanahan, and I get it, right? I could totally see why you might be like, yeah, well, what am I supposed to say? How would I possibly know? But I'm just curious, where are you guys on in that? And the real question here isn't so much should the 49ers start Hufanga as much as it is, do you trust the safeties in this room? Because I'm impressed by them. I really am. I think Jair Brown and George Odom can hold it down and hold down the fort against the Jets for a week, maybe 2 weeks if necessary, while Hufanga takes his time on the ramp up. That's where I would put my energy and my, if I'm optimizing for anything, I'm optimizing for Hufanga having as much time as he needs to properly ramp up. And I don't want him being, game day decision on Monday and he starts. I would rather see him, game day decision Monday, and he's not playing for another week, right? And we're really spreading that out and giving plenty of time there. But that's about the extent of my medical knowledge, so I'm not going to go ahead and go any further on that. But I'm interested in what you guys think and what you think the 49ers are actually going to do. Do you think he will start? I look forward to your take on that. But let's get into the update. Hufanga's progress, of course, has been good. He's working his way back. It was great to see him out there on the field, Nick Sorensen said, to get pads on and have a helmet on and go through individual. Really excited for him. He's really worked his butt off. Hearing how he's gone through this process, I'm not surprised just because of who he is. I think everybody involved with it, but him primarily, the way that he worked to get back to this, it's exciting and really happy for him. And I just love this from Nick Sorensen because there's a lot you can say about a player and what they do on the field. But what a guy does when he's been injured and he's in recovery mode, which is super, super hard. And every player has talked about that. Dre Greenlaw talked about that this offseason, how difficult it has been to be away from the facility, to be out of the fold, to not be on the football field, how big of a difference that is, how challenging that is. And so it's really awesome to hear all of the love and praise that Hufanga is getting here for all of his hard work and keeping such an incredible attitude throughout all of it. It's obviously been great to see him on the sidelines during training camp and things like that, and his attitude, all the vibes, everything's good from him. But good for him that he's actually able to be on the field, and we're still seeing the celebrations of what he's done off the field. I think he continued there, by the way, in a little bit here. But 9 months later, Hufanga's positive demeanor has rewarded him with an exclusion from the physically unable to perform list. That's the big deal that I feel like I know I mentioned it because we talked about the 53-man roster when it came out early last week, but we never really went into it, and I never really broke it down, and I felt like, man, how did we not break that down? That's kind of important there, and I think it's just because there's so much that came out last week with the 53-man roster and the Brandon Aiyuk deal, everything going on that, we just never really talked about that. It is a huge deal. It's a huge statement that the 49ers, didn't put him on the PUP list. That's something that's worth recognizing. That's because the 49ers know then he must be, getting around close to game ready in the first couple of weeks. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth that roster spot, right? You say Tracy Walker, the third, for example, maybe makes the team in the 53-man roster for a short chunk of time. Continuing on the positivity, he's always positive. Sorensen stated he's a good dude. He's also very smart, cerebral, always wanting to talk ball, and the way he plays, he's a violent player too, and he cuts it loose. But as a person, yes, very positive. You can see that he had these goals in mind and talking to him over the last few months. So that's why I feel like I'm not surprised, just because of who he is. And when you set these goals and you hit these check marks along the way, then it can happen. The road from recovery isn't complete yet, though, as Hufanga is beginning his ramp-up process on the field. This may take up to a few weeks, with the 49ers in no rush to get him back on the field. Given how Hufanga has attacked recovery, it'd be no surprise to see him come down to a game-time decision on Monday night. And that's what scares me. It's like, is that a good idea, though? If he's a game-time decision on Monday Night Football, do you throw him out there, or do you trust your other guys to go out there and put the game together? And Kyle, he's out there planning as if he's not available. That's how Kyle's going to be handling it. So in my gut, I don't think that he's going to play in Monday Night Football. But I'm curious what you guys think, because if he's ready and if he's game-time decision, then what does he bring to this football team in addition to his skill and all that? That you'd love to have. In my mind, the perfect scenario is Hufanga is there, he's healthy, he's maybe even suited up, and he's ready to go on if needed or whatever, and he's in perfect condition, but he's more just intensity, positive energy, coaching on the sideline, all the vibes that you get from him, all that stuff, leadership, all that good stuff. We'll see, though. John Lynch said we're going to be judicious, going to be smart. He's done a fabulous job with his rehab, and he's been doing everything he can to the side. Today's big step, get him back at practice. I think 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan said earlier, will get him through individual, won't throw too much. You kind of like to phase that in. We'll be ready for week 1. Not sure. I think it's going to be tight, but I think it's telling that we made the decision not to keep him on PUP. Even John Lynch is telling you it's a telling decision that he did that. Bring him off, and we expect him somewhere early in the season. So real proud of Huff and his progress. He makes us a better team. So great to have him. And, could you argue with that? Yes, it is great to have him. And let's not forget about him. He's going to be very important this season, and excited for Jair Brown to be starting alongside him. I think that's going to be awesome for the young, I was going to say rookie. Not a rookie anymore. You get what I mean, though. Another thing that I saw today that I just wanted to share with you, I think is positive news, positive perspective, was this Newsweek article that covered what Leonard Floyd had to say about facing Aaron Rodgers week 1, the Jets. Leonard Floyd has healthy respect, the exact right attitude about Aaron Rodgers and his football team. There's more than meets the eye. Read this, but listen carefully, because this is good stuff from Leonard Floyd. Shoot, man, my scouting report is he's a legendary quarterback, and you have to come with your A game, because he's the type where he'll embarrass you. If you give him some momentum, he's going to carry that momentum for the whole game. You just have to be on your P's and Q's, because he'll score every time if you let him. 2 pieces there. Firstly, I love that Leonard Floyd is going out there and he's saying, hey, hold on now, guys. This is still a good quarterback. This is a guy who can get after you. And he's got that healthy respect for the other team. This Jets team is a good team. They have a good quarterback. They have a potential Hall of Fame quarterback. They have a quarterback who, he hasn't been to the Super Bowl in a really long time, and the one time he went, he got one and all that, and yada, yada, yada. We can haggle on that or whatever, but he's still a great quarterback, all right? Forget about the fact that it's been a long time since he's been to the game. The other thing, right, is you got to remember that this football team, who's really good, I was talking in the comments the other day, okay? It was actually yesterday. I was talking in the comments with somebody about how, like, the last thing we want to do at the end of this game is walk off the field with a loss and look in the mirrors, right? Because that's how good this football team is. Any game that you lose, it's hard to not look in the mirror and be like, we lost this game. They didn't win it. We lost it, right? And football of all sports is amazing at personal responsibility and taking ownership of mistakes and all that good stuff. And I love that about football. This is one of like such an incredible roster that they have to have that mentality. And look at what Leonard Floyd said at the very, very end. You just have to be on your P's and Q's because he'll score every time if you let him. You see the confidence that he has, that the only way that Aaron Rodgers tears the team apart is if the 49ers let him. That's the confidence. I love to see that, by the way. Love to see that. He's got a healthy respect and he has a load of confidence. Absolutely love it. Okay. He also said, I've played a lot of football in Chicago. Sometimes we'd face Aaron Rodgers as a first game, which, by the way, I think he's faced Aaron Rodgers somewhere around 8 times in his career. A 2016 Bears first-round pick who indeed faced the Packers to open both the 2018 and 2019 seasons in prime time. So he's been there, done that. If the 49ers can apply pressure on Rodgers, it would likely make things easier for them. He is coming off a very bad injury and is 40 years old. You take last season, you say he didn't really play very good football because he wasn't playing. Season before that, didn't really play very convincing football either. So you're now kind of in a situation, a little bit of a no man's land, where having all the rest might be really good for you. And maybe he comes in and he looks really good, like, you know, the Brett Favre, the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady's went at the end of their career, who were able to look good for the first few weeks especially. We'll see. I don't really know, to be honest with you, how it's going to go. And, of course, I don't know. Neither do you. No one really knows how he's going to play. But I think at the end of the day, if we have that balance of real serious confidence in how good we are and aware of the potential risks on the other side of the ball and a healthy respect for the opposition, it's going to be just fine. That's what I think. Last and final topic that I thought was interesting I wanted to share with you today is this. Brandon Aiyuk signing makes the DeForest Buckner situation more of an outlier. Patrick Holloway with the article on this one, and I thought just he made a really interesting point here. The one thing many could point to when all of this Brandon Aiyuk drama was going on was DeForest Buckner. That was the one homegrown number 1 S-tier player the San Francisco 49ers traded away. In return, they got a first-round pick, which became Javon Kinlaw. So when deals came for George Kittle, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and more, it's fair to be skittish remembering not only DeForest Buckner's deal, but expectations Kinlaw could replace him. And I want to rephrase that sentence there, not because Patrick Holloway said anything wrong, but I would just rephrase it to say, anytime you have expectations of any rookie replacing a star player, that's always a dangerous move, right? Always. Now Brandon Aiyuk, the one negotiation we can all say was the most difficult in the John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan era, went like most of the others, extended and paid. DeForest Buckner is an outlier, which is good because we talked about DeForest Buckner so many times. I said we, like the fan base, sports radio, sports media, everyone brought up DeForest Buckner because there was a comparison there. Okay, we got a guy who's, maybe kind of wants to be traded. We can get something for him. And we drafted a couple wide receiver rookies. Maybe we throw those rookie wide receivers out there. Maybe we put those guys out there. And this is a better situation for the 49ers. Let's just be honest. It's a better situation for those wide receivers. It's a better situation for any rookies who don't have to have all of the pressure in their first season. Give them some time to get comfortable, get their feet under them. That's always a better situation in my mind. And nobody wants to see a repeat of that situation where Brandon Aiyuk goes to team blank and has an incredible year, is a first team All-Pro, and no one wants to see that. No one wants to see that come out. So I'm excited. This was a nice reminder, a nice positive take on the fact that the more of these deals get done, congratulations to John Lynch and Parag for making these things happen and doing all the behind-the-scenes work in order to make this stuff happen. Congratulations to you guys, because the more of these get done, the more DeForest Buckner is a thing of the past that happened one time that they learned from, and maybe in some ways was a huge lesson that prepared them to handle these situations that they're handling, just this season with Trent Williams and Brandon Aiyuk. So I'm feeling really good about that, positive about it, and I'm hopeful that we're not going to see any more of those crazy holdouts, as I'm sure we're going to see literally next offseason, of course, right? That's how it's going to happen. It's just going to have to happen that way. 49ers are 8 days away, guys, against the New York Jets, and I'm looking forward to going there with you all. So make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you like the video, all that good stuff. If I do appreciate it, if you would consider doing that. I don't know why I said make sure you do that like it's a given. I appreciate it if you do that. And we're going to be going all the way. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about stuff, and I look forward to breaking down all of this stuff with you in the chat. As always, this is an exciting time, guys. This is an exciting time to be a 49ers fan. This is an exciting time at the start of the season. So what a time to be alive.